Now into more pragmatics. How do you create HTML? HTML is plain text. Plain text, it used to be called ASCII, because ASCII was our standard for creating plain text. Plain text now is more likely, especially in this world, to be something not ASCII. Do you know what the word is? Starts with a U? Unicode. Plain text is likely to be Unicode these days. Unicode is simply a way of representing any possible character in any possible language in the entire world. I won't say the universe, because there's probably some out there that we don't know about that aren't in Unicode. But that's what Unicode was invented to do. It has about the possibility of representing 3 billion odd characters, which is enough to cover all the world's languages. ASCII, on the other hand, was invented by a couple of kids in the Bay Area, and they decided, I don't know that's true, but it's likely that it's true, they decided that only 127 slots were necessary to represent anything you could possibly ever want to type. Why? Because there were a couple of kids in the Bay Area and they didn't realize that there was a world out there full of characters. Right? So they invented a standard that could only basically represent the English keyboard. Right? And so now we have Unicode that can represent any character that's in any language in the world, and any time a new character arises or comes up, it can be added to the standard. But still, the point here is it's plain text. It can be displayed by any plain text editor. Notepad is the kind of the example that I like to use, because that's kind of the standard for editing just plain text. It's not binary. It doesn't take a special application in order to interpret it. It's an open standard. Okay, so the simplest way to create HTML, and you need nothing else besides something like this, is Notepad. Right? Notepad is the simplest application in the entire world, Windows world. I don't know what it is in the Mac. Is there a plain text editor in the Mac? What's it called? Word text. WordPad. Okay, WordPad, probably something like this, right? Text edit. Okay, says Eric. That's quite possible. There's all sorts of plain text editors, but I want you to understand this distinction. It stores its information in a plain, open, non-proprietary format. And so, to create HTML, all you need is the simplest of simple tools. So, very simple HTML, created very simple way. However, that's not the usual way. That's not the way that most people do now. Most people, well, I guess I would still say most people. Most people use some sort of IDE. What does IDE stand for? Anybody know? Integrated Development Environment. It's kind of your one-shop tool for doing HTML. And Dreamweaver is the kind of the one that most people know about. There's all sorts of HTML IDEs, but Dreamweaver is the one that we work with most. It's on all the computers here, and that's the usual way. The usual way is I use this environment. I use this tool that's my all-encompassing tool for creating websites, and that's how I get a bunch of HTML. But that HTML is still just plain text. Okay, and then there's the slick way, the way that we're going to learn in this class, which is I don't actually touch HTML myself. All I do is I create a set of HTML templates. Those of you who took my HTML class, we ended pretty much on templates. But we ended on templates that still needed us to type over and over again. The templates we're going to use in this class are called XML transforms, and they take structured information and they automatically turn it into HTML information. Or I can use some other form of templates. If I use some sort of management system, they usually come with templating systems. Or I can just write a program, and that program can automatically generate HTML.
You have a typo, by the way. Programs. 2 M's in programs, there should only be one.
Sorry? Okay, good. Note that on the
Oh, I will.
She's just racking up those one-pointers.
I need them, I tell you.
Well, you don't know yet. By the way, you really don't know yet on your grades. I looked at the people who finished it. Everyone came within 3 or 4 points of getting the maximum on those first 2 worksheets. So and those 2 worksheets put together are only worth like 20 points. The HTML worksheet is worth like 75 points. Okay, so the points are yet to come. Those first 2 worksheets are just play, they're practice, they're really not much going on in there. There's lots and lots to come. Okay, so the slick way, the way that professionals do it who have lots of information. They don't go into Dreamweaver and type in a bunch of pages. They certainly don't go into NotePage and type in a bunch of pages. They put together a management system. They put together a system that allows them to define the way that they want their pages to look and then to automatically build those pages. Right? That's the track that we're on in this class. We're not going to get all the way to the end here, but we are going to start on that track.